This is Marcella. I just wanted to take a minute to explain some of the changes that have taken effect on August 17th and how it affects property management. So as you probably heard on the media, NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, settled the lawsuit nationally. And the DOJ had a few requirements on that settlement. And part of it was how commissions were paid and in the contracts. So in the past, when you sold a house, on the contract, you wrote a few key points, and that was the sales price, the beginning and ending of the contract, and how much you were willing to pay for the buyer's agent and for your agent. So one of the changes is that now you cannot put in the contract if you are willing to pay for the buyer's agent and how much you're willing to pay. So when you get an offer on a house, you're going to be receiving an offer most likely not only based on the price of that the buyer is offering, but what else does the buyer need, as much as, do they need closing costs? Do they need you to help them pay for their representation? It is not in the seller's best interest not to cooperate towards the buyer's agent's commission, because a lot of buyers will not be able to qualify if they have to come in with the additional funds for their agent, and some of them can barely make the down payment, and then that's why they ask sometimes for closing costs. And always you will see it on a net sheet if paying whatever you agreed to, including the price, makes sense, bottom line numbers to you. So that's how it used to be. And now that portion of the commissions, other than what you're paying your own agent, can no longer be in the contract. As a matter of fact, we cannot advertise it. Even if you tell me, I want to sell my house and I want to pay so much for the buyer's agent, I cannot say that. Only if that buyer's agent picks up the phone and says, I want to show your house. Is your seller willing to cooperate towards my commission? And if you allow me to let that agent know, then I can't. If not, they will have to write what is called a buyer brokerage agreement, and they will have to write it in their offer. What are all their needs, so that you as a seller can decide what portions of that offer you are willing to cooperate with, and if the buyer is willing to accept or can qualify with those terms. So basically that's what has happened. And how does that affect us? Well, now, even to do an open house, anybody that wants to come into the open house and see the house has to sign what it's called a buyer brokerage agreement, which means you are seeing this house with agent A, and agent A will charge so much if you want to buy that house. And if you want to see the house, you need to sign that contract before you can enter the property. So that's what's making it a little bit difficult. And when the offers get written, they're gonna most likely include a request to help that buyer pay for their agent if they don't have the funds to do so, or they may decide not to be represented at all, which it makes it a little bit difficult, because think about it. Would you hire an attorney to defend you on criminal charges, for example, but yet that attorney is also it's the prosecutor. They cannot do both jobs and do them fairly. So that's where it's like a catch, I guess. So it is not in the buyer's best interest not to have representation. But let's talk about property management. How does that affect us? So now we have to rewrite our contracts as well. So basically we have new contracts that came into effect August 31st, and believe me, the day before it's when we were getting the contracts approved. And what the contract is gonna say, in my case, it's gonna match your contract that you already agreed to. And I'm gonna write an addendum and add it to that contract saying what is the maximum that you're willing to pay for a tenant's agent to get paid. When we do get a tenant, that agent is going to have to submit an invoice, a BVA, which is the buyer brokerage agreement, or whatever documentation their office requires from them to me so that I can pay them for bringing us that tenant. And because we already have a contract and we had already agreed on what you're going to pay them, that's going to transfer over into the new contract, and then we can proceed much quicker. But the downside is that even to show a rental property, any agent, which we have 17,000 agents, they will have to have a contract with that prospect, with that person that it's looking for rentals, before they can actually take them to see a rental property. So you see, that's how it's affecting us and why we're slow. So rentals are taking about 60 to 90 days right now. We do a lot of heavy marketing, but these little details and changes, it's what's causing the delay. Hopefully I was able to explain myself. Thank you.